My husband's family called me a gold digger until the $2 million company turned out to be mine. For 4 years, my husband's family called me a gold digger to my face, convinced I'd married him for his money. What none of them ever bothered to ask was where my money came from, because the $2 million company they assumed he'd built alone had my name on every filing, every patent, and every bank account that mattered. If you enjoy stories about people who stay quiet right up until the moment it matters most, hit subscribe, because this channel is full of them. My name is Sophia. I'm 35, and I've spent my whole career in biomedical engineering. I grew up outside Denver, raised mostly by my older brother Mateo after our parents divorced, and both, in their own ways, checked out of parenting. Mateo worked 2 jobs through his 20s just to help me finish my engineering degree, and he never once let me feel like a burden for needing help. He used to say, "The people who matter will never make you feel small for having ambition." I held on to that more than he probably knows. I met Ethan in graduate school. We were both working on early medical device prototypes, and within 2 years, we co-founded a company together, Verity Diagnostics, a startup building portable diagnostic equipment for rural clinics. I handled the engineering and product development. Ethan handled the business side, investor relationships, and operations. We were equal partners from day one, 50-50 ownership, both our names on the founding documents. We got married a year after launching the company, and it felt like we were building 2 things at once, a business and a life. The first time I met Ethan's parents, his mother Carol looked me over like she was appraising furniture. "So you're the engineer," she said, in a tone that somehow made the words sound unimpressive. Mateo, who came with me to one holiday gathering early on, pulled me aside afterward. "That woman asked me twice how much you contribute financially to the relationship," he said. "Watch her. She's already decided who you are." I brushed it off. I thought, once they saw how hard I worked, they'd understand. They never did. The early years of the business were brutal. 18-hour days, cheap takeout, sleeping in the office more nights than I want to admit. But we were building something real, and Ethan and I felt like a true team. Carol, though, only ever asked Ethan about the company, never me. At every family dinner, she'd say things like, "Ethan's really turning that little company into something," while I sat right there, having personally designed the core technology that made the company function at all. By our 2nd year of marriage, the isolation started creeping in. Carol hosted constant family events that always seemed to schedule around my travel for investor meetings, then criticized me for never being around. My own friends drifted, exhausted by constantly rescheduling around Ethan's family obligations. Mateo remained the one constant, though even our calls shrank from weekly to monthly, because there was always some Ethan family gathering that made me feel guilty for prioritizing my own brother. The first real incident happened at Ethan's father's 60th birthday party. Ethan gave a toast about the company's recent milestone, a $2 million valuation after our latest funding round, and thanked his team, his investors, his vision. Not one word about the technology I'd spent 5 years developing. Carol raised her glass and said, loud enough for the whole room, "To Ethan, who built all this from nothing, despite marrying into some financial pressure along the way." Laughter. My face burned. Ethan didn't correct her. He just smiled and drank. Later that night, I overheard Carol telling her sister in the kitchen, not quietly enough, "I just worry she saw dollar signs the moment they started dating. Engineers don't usually marry into money like this by accident." I stood frozen in the hallway. I wasn't marrying into money. I had built it. That night in the car, I told Ethan how it felt to hear his own mother call me a gold digger at his father's birthday party. He sighed, exhausted, like I was overreacting. She doesn't mean it like that. You know how she talks. 2 days later, he brought home takeout from my favorite restaurant and said, "Let's just move past it, okay?" That was the apology. Not sorry for what was said. Sorry I'd let it bother me. That pattern repeated for the next 2 years. A cutting comment at a family event, my hurt dismissed. A short piece that shrank a little more each time. Meanwhile, the company kept growing. New hires, new contracts, a real office space. And somehow, in every family conversation, it kept becoming Ethan's company, a little more each time. Then, this past spring, everything changed. Because our lead investor requested a full corporate governance review before a major new funding round. Standard due diligence before injecting another significant round of capital. The review meant every document, every filing, every ownership stake would be re-verified and formally re-recorded with the state, cleanly and publicly, ahead of the funding closing in 90 days. I didn't think much of it. It was procedural. But it meant something was coming that couldn't be quietly ignored or reframed at a family dinner table. That's when I found the email. I was pulling old founding documents for our attorney one evening on Ethan's laptop, since mine was being repaired, and a draft email sitting in his outbox caught my eye. It was addressed to a corporate attorney, dated 2 weeks earlier. Subject line, "Restructuring ownership ahead of Series B." The body read, in part, that Ethan wanted to explore adjusting the ownership split to better reflect operational leadership, and mentioned, almost casually, that his mother had some concerns about protecting family assets given recent tension in the marriage. I sat there in our kitchen, laptop glowing in the dark, and read it 3 times. He was trying to quietly cut me out of the company I had co-founded, using his mother's paranoia as cover, right before a funding round that would make our combined equity worth even more. I called Matteo that night, hands shaking. He didn't yell. He just said, "Get proof, then get a lawyer. Don't confront him with feelings. Confront him with paperwork." So I did. I pulled the original founding documents, patent filings with my name as sole inventor on our core diagnostic technology, and every email exchange establishing our 50-50 ownership from day one. I met with a corporate attorney privately, who confirmed exactly what I already knew. There was no legal mechanism for Ethan to unilaterally restructure ownership without my signature, and any attempt to do so, especially timed around a funding round, would constitute a serious breach with real financial and legal consequences. The final incident happened at a family dinner 2 weeks later, hosted at Carol's house to celebrate the upcoming funding round. Carol raised a toast again, this time saying, "To Ethan, and to Verity Diagnostics finally being run the way it should be." Ethan didn't correct her. He just smiled at his glass. I set my fork down, opened my bag, and pulled out 3 folders. I placed them on the table in front of Carol, Ethan, and his father. "Before this toast goes any further," I said, my voice calm and even, "everyone at this table should see whose signature is actually on every patent, every founding document, and every piece of core technology that makes this company worth $2 million. I opened the folder to the patent filings, my name listed as sole inventor, then the founding agreement, 50-50 ownership, both our signatures dated 5 years earlier. "I'm not marrying into money, Carol. I built half of it. And Ethan tried to quietly take my half 2 weeks ago." The table went silent. Carol's face drained of color. Ethan's father looked at his son with an expression I'd never seen him wear before: disappointment. The consequences moved fast. My attorney formally notified our investors and the corporate board of the attempted unauthorized restructuring, which not only halted the funding round temporarily, but triggered a full independent audit of Ethan's recent dealings, revealing he'd also been quietly diverting a portion of operational funds toward a separate personal account over the previous year. The board, once the founding documents and audit findings were reviewed, moved to remove Ethan from any operational authority pending further review, formally recognizing my full 50% stake and expanded operational role going forward. I filed for divorce within the month. Ethan tried calling, texting, showing up at the office, insisting it wasn't what it looked like. I let my attorney handle all of it from that point forward. 6 months later, Verity Diagnostics closed its delayed funding round at an even higher valuation, now under my direct operational leadership, alongside a new business partner Matteo helped me vet personally. Carol has not spoken to me since that dinner. I don't think about her much these days. I'm too busy running the company I built with my own 2 hands, under my own name, exactly the way it always should have been recognized. Matteo still says it every time I see him now. The people who matter will never make you feel small for having ambition. He was right. He always was.